The arrival of the night was quiet in the small town of Ashton. The stars were clear, the wind was soft, and Jack was walking home after his late shift. He was tired, his hands in his pockets, just thinking about dinner and sleep. Suddenly, the sky lit up with a blinding white flash. It wasn't lightning. It wasn't fireworks. It was something different. Jack looked up, eyes wide. A massive ball of fire shot across the sky. It moved fast, glowing blue and red, leaving a long tail behind it. Then it crashed into the forest near the old highway. The ground shook under Jack's feet. Boom. The sound was loud, like thunder and metal breaking. Jack stood frozen for a second, heart beating fast. What the hell was that? He whispered. Curiosity took over his fear. He turned around and started running toward the forest. As he got closer, the air smelled like burning metal and ozone. The trees were glowing from the fire, but there was no smoke. Jack reached the crash site, hiding behind a rock. In front of him was something he had never seen before. A giant spaceship, half buried in the ground. It was black and silver, shaped like a blade, humming with strange energy. Then the ship opened, steam hissed out, and a tall shadow walked down a ramp. Jack's mouth fell open. It wasn't human. The figure was massive, maybe 8 feet tall. She wore shining armor, like a warrior from some other world. Her skin was pale blue, glowing faintly. Her eyes were golden and sharp. Her long dark hair flowed behind her like fire. She had a huge sword on her back and moved like a queen of war. She looked around, then saw Jack. Her eyes locked onto his. She stepped forward, and her voice echoed through the trees, deep and powerful. Bow before me, human. Jack didn't move. He didn't run. He didn't bow. He just stared at her, confused, but calm. Something inside him told him, don't show fear. The alien woman narrowed her eyes. No fear? She said slowly, like she was surprised. Jack crossed his arms. Why would I bow? He asked, voice steady. This is my planet. She took another step toward him. You speak boldly, she said. I am Commander Virea of the Zarkith. Dominion, conqueror of 29 worlds. Jack shrugged. Cool story, he replied. You crashed into the wrong town. Virea tilted her head. She scanned him with a small device on her arm. It beeped and showed something that made her pause. Her eyes widened, just a little. You are not normal, she whispered, more to herself than to him. There is something inside you. Jack blinked. What are you talking about? But Virea didn't answer. Instead, she pressed a button on her wrist. Her ship beeped again, and a soft blue light covered her armor. She stepped even closer, standing right in front of Jack. I came here to claim this world, she said. But now I see a puzzle. She looked at him like a scientist looking at a rare animal. Or maybe, like a soldier meeting a worthy opponent. You are brave, she said finally. But bravery alone will not save you. Jack didn't flinch. He could feel something strange inside him, like heat in his chest, like power waking up. He didn't know what it was, but it felt old. Suddenly, more lights appeared in the sky. 3 more ships, smaller than hers, but fast. They circled the crash site like vultures. Virea's expression changed. She tapped her wrist and growled. They followed me, she said. They are hunters. Jack looked at the ships. Are they coming for you? She nodded. For me. And now for you. The moment hung heavy in the air. 2 strangers from 2 worlds, standing side by side. Enemies, maybe, or maybe something else. And Virea looked at him again. I should kill you, she said, or protect you. I have not decided. Jack raised an eyebrow. Decide fast, he said, because they're landing. The forest shook again as the 3 enemy ships touched down. Lights turned red, and mechanical legs stepped out. Alien soldiers with weapons. armor, and one goal: eliminate the target. Jack clenched his fists. His heart was racing. His world had just changed. And somewhere deep inside, something was waking up. Asterisk. The test red lights flashed through the trees as the 3 alien ships landed. The ground trembled like the forest. Itself was afraid. Jack stood still, his eyes locked on the growing danger. Virea raised her sword from her back. The blade shimmered with blue energy. "They are Deathbringers," she said coldly. "Mercenaries. Bred for war, sent to destroy." Anything in their way. Jack stepped back. "But why are they here?" He asked. "You said they followed you." "They did," she replied, voice low. "But now they smell you. There's something in your blood, something ancient." The word ancient echoed in Jack's mind. He didn't understand. He was just a normal guy, or at least, he thought he was. The first Deathbringer stepped out from the nearest ship. It was a monster, 10 feet tall, skin like black stone. Its eyes were burning red. Its hands carried a weapon that looked like a cannon fused with a sword. Virea didn't wait. She charged forward like a storm, roaring a battle cry in a strange alien tongue. Her sword met the enemy's weapon in a blinding flash. The two clashed with brutal force. Shaking the ground, Jack watched, stunned. Virea fought like a legend, like a storm made of steel and fire. But more Deathbringers stepped out, and Jack realized something. They weren't here just for her anymore. They were scanning him. One pointed and growled. Target locked. Human anomaly located. Jack turned and ran. Branches whipped his face. Mud splashed under his feet. But even as he ran, his mind buzzed with heat and noise. He felt his heartbeat pounding faster. Too fast. He tripped and hit the ground. But when he pushed himself up, he didn't feel pain. Something had changed. He looked at his hands. They were glowing faintly. Just for a moment, but he saw it. A golden shimmer beneath the skin. Back at the crash site, Virea had already taken down one Deathbringer. She looked toward the trees, her voice cutting through. "The battle. Stop running, human. This is your test." Jack paused, breathing hard. "What test?" He shouted back. She didn't answer. Instead, she pressed a button on her armor. A pulse of blue light burst out, and in an instant, Jack's body was pulled into the air. He floated helplessly, surrounded by strange symbols and glowing lines. The light scanned him, entered his body, touched his mind. Visions filled his eyes. A human warrior standing before alien gods. A war lost thousands of years ago. A seed of power hidden inside Earth's bloodline, waiting for one to awaken. Then the voice came, not hers, but from somewhere deeper. A voice old as stars. "You carry the prime spark, human. You must be tested." Jack fell to the ground with a thud. His body shook, but he stood. He looked at his hands again. This time, they were truly glowing. Virea walked toward him, blood on her armor, her eyes sharp. "You are not just a man," she said. "You are a question the galaxy forgot to ask." Before Jack could answer, 2 more Deathbringers charged out of the smoke. Virea raised her sword, but stopped. She turned to Jack. "Fight them," she said. "This is your test, Jack." Stared at her like she was mad. "I don't know how," he said. "You will," she replied, then stepped back. The monsters came fast. One swung a blade toward Jack's chest. He raised his arms, ready to die, but the blade stopped mid-air, blocked by a golden shield made of pure energy. Jack gasped. He didn't know how he made it. He didn't even know what it was, but it was real, and it was his. The other Deathbringer roared and fired a beam from its weapon. Jack moved without thinking, his body twisted. Faster than human reflex, he dodged, rolled, and threw out his hand. A pulse of golden energy shot from his palm and slammed into the creature's chest. Boom! The alien flew backward, crashing through the trees. Silence. Jack stood in the smoke. his chest rising and falling, his eyes glowing like fire. Maria smiled slightly. "The Prime awakens," she said. "The test has begun." Jack looked at his hands again. He wasn't normal. He wasn't weak. But what was he becoming? The forest burned behind them. Red fire, black smoke, and broken trees marked the place where the Deathbringers fell. But peace didn't follow victory. It only invited something worse. Virea stood beside Jack, her face unreadable. "You used power," she said. "Too much, too soon." Jack was breathing heavy. "I didn't mean to," he said. "It just happened." "It always starts that way," she replied. "But now they will come." Jack turned, confused. "Who?" Virea looked toward the sky, and the sky answered. A deep hum filled the air, like thunder wrapped in metal. From above the clouds, a black shape slowly appeared. Not a ship, not a fleet, but a hunter dome. It hovered like a shadow over the forest, blocking the moon. Jack felt cold. "What is that?" he asked. Virea's voice dropped. "The Dominion's hunting eye. They send it when someone breaks the ancient order." "You mean me," Jack said. She nodded. "They think you are a weapon, and weapons are not allowed to think." The dome pulsed, and a dark mist fell from it. Black drones with red eyes, scanning the ground. "They're searching," Virea said. "For you." "We have to hide," Jack said, stepping back. But Virea shook her head. "There is no hiding. Now, there is only escape or war." Jack stared at her. "This is because I didn't bow, isn't it?" She didn't answer, because the truth was yes. And the galaxy didn't like humans who stood tall. They ran deeper into the forest, through thorns and shadows. But no matter how far they went, the humming followed. The hunter drones were closing. And suddenly, a burst of energy slammed into a tree beside them. Boom, bark exploded, and fire spilled across the leaves. "They found us," Virea said, drawing her sword. "Time to fight." "No," Jack said. He raised his hand, and the shield returned, glowing gold and alive. "I'll fight," he said. "But I need answers first." Virea looked at him, surprised. "You are asking questions." "While being hunted, I need to know what I am," Jack said. "I need to know why they want me dead." She paused, then spoke quickly as drones circled above. "You are the last spark of the Prime line. Humans were not always weak. Long ago, your kind ruled stars, shaped energy, made weapons with thought. What happened?" Jack asked. "They feared you," she said, "so they erased you. But your blood still carries the code. You are the first to wake in 1,000 years." Before Jack could speak again, the ground exploded. Metal pods fell around them, opening to reveal armored hunters, not like the Deathbringers. These were elite, silent, cold, and deadly. One stepped forward, its face covered in a silver mask. It spoke without sound. Words appeared in the air, glowing red. "Subject O1 found. Terminate with extreme force." Virea swung her blade. 3 enemies fell, but more stepped in. Jack raised both hands. Golden light pulsed out, forming a wall between them and the hunters, but the wall cracked. One of the hunters reached through and grabbed Jack's arm. Pain shot through him like fire. The hunter's hand glowed green. Scanning his blood, it smiled. Or maybe it was just showing teeth. "Confirmed," the words flashed. "Prime status, active. Human threat level, maximum." Suddenly, Jack's body surged with heat. His veins glowed gold, and a shockwave blasted outward. The hunter was thrown back like a rag doll, crashing into a boulder. Silence followed. Even the drones paused. Jack stood up slowly, his eyes brighter than before. "Stop calling me subject," he said, voice deeper. "My name is Jack." Virea looked at him like she was seeing a legend come alive. "You are changing," she said. "You are awakening." Jack clenched his fists. "I'm done running," he said. "Let them come." More hunters dropped from the sky, but now Jack wasn't afraid. Not anymore. He stepped forward, golden. Energy swirling around him, not a soldier, not a god, but something the galaxy had forgotten. A human who refused to kneel. The betrayal of the night sky was now filled with enemy ships. Jack and Virea stood in the center of a burning forest, surrounded by smoking bodies and shattered drones. But this was not victory. It was only the beginning of something darker. Jack's power was growing fast, too fast. His hands glowed even when he didn't want them to. He could hear whispers in his mind, voices from a time long lost, memories that weren't his, but felt familiar. "We need to leave," Virea said, her voice tense. "They will send more. Stronger ones? Where?" Jack asked. "We can't keep running forever." "We're not," she replied. "My ship is still active. I'll take you off-world to the Citadel. There's someone there who can help you understand what you are." Jack hesitated, but nodded. He had no choice. Every second he stayed on Earth, more danger followed. And inside, the power was growing like fire trapped in a box. They ran toward the crash site. The trees faded behind them, replaced by scorched soil and twisted metal. Virea's warship was damaged, but alive. The ship's I blinked awake when she touched the control panel. "Authorization. Commander Virea," she said. "Prepare emergency launch." The ship rumbled, its core burning bright. Jack stepped inside and looked around. Alien symbols glowed on the walls, and strange machinery pulsed with energy. He had never been this far from everything he knew. Then something strange happened. As soon as he stepped into the ship, the lights turned golden. The ship scanned him automatically. A voice spoke from the walls. "Prime signature detected. Access granted." Virea froze. "That's not supposed to happen," she whispered. "No one can override my command." Jack looked at her. "You said I'm not just human." He said, "Maybe this ship knows who I really am." Virea said nothing, but she looked worried, very worried. The ship lifted off, slicing through the sky like a blade. Earth became smaller beneath them, a quiet blue ball fading behind clouds. Jack stared out the window. "Will I ever come back?" He asked. "If you live," Virea said. "Maybe." Then, without warning, alarms blared. The ship jerked violently, and red lights flashed. "Enemy signal on board," the ship's voice shouted. "Intruder detected in lower deck." Virea's eyes widened. "No," she muttered. "It can't be." She grabbed her blade and ran toward the lower level. Jack followed, heart pounding. The door slid open, and there stood someone Jack had never seen before. He wore Dominion armor like Virea, but darker, marked with silver lines. His eyes were pale like glass. His voice was calm, too calm. "Sister," he said, "still protecting the weak?" Jack froze. "Sister?" Virea stepped forward, sword ready. "Commander Kale," she said with venom. "You were dead." Kale smiled. "No," he said. "I just saw the truth before you did. You protect this human, but he is a threat. He is the future," Virea snapped. "And you are a traitor." Kale raised his weapon. "I am the cure," he said. "You still believe in honor, but I believe in control." He looked at Jack. "I don't hate you, human," he said, "but your kind ruined the galaxy once. Won't do it again." Without warning, Kale fired. Virea blocked it, but the force threw her back into the wall. Jack stepped forward, fire in his veins. "You talk too much," Jack said. He lifted his hand. Golden light exploded forward like a cannon. Kale dodged, but his smile never faded. "I wanted to see your strength," he said. "Now I know what I must destroy." Kale threw a black orb to the ground. A pulse of shadow spread out, and Jack dropped to his knees. His energy dimmed, his vision blurred. It was like the light inside him was being swallowed. "A null zone," Virea shouted, struggling to stand. "It cuts prime energy." Kale walked closer. "You don't belong in this war, Jack." He said, "You're a relic." But then Jack clenched his fist and his eyes lit up again. "No," he said, voice deep and thunderous. "I'm a warning." With a scream, Jack released a final burst of power. Cracking the floor, Kale was thrown back. Smashing through a wall, the null zone broke, and light filled the ship again. Jack fell, breathing hard. Virea crawled to him, blood on her forehead. "He was my brother," she whispered. "And now he leads the hunt." Jack looked at her. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I didn't know who to trust," she said. "And now there's no one left but you." The ship drifted into space, damaged and silent. But inside, it carried something the galaxy had not seen in 1,000 years. A human prime, and a warrior with no home left to return to. The arena, the stars outside the ship, turned red. Warning lights flashed, systems failed, and oxygen levels dropped. Jack lay on the cold floor, his body shaking from the energy surge. Virea's face was pale, her armor cracked. They had escaped. Kale, for now, but not the galaxy. The Dominion had them in its grip. A sudden jolt rocked the ship. Tractor beams wrapped around it like chains. They were being pulled into a massive station, orbiting a dying sun. Its shape was like a twisted coliseum, dark and ancient. Thousands of lights blinked from inside, like eyes watching. "Where are we?" Jack asked, coughing. Virea looked. "Up Zancor," she said. "The arena of extinction." Jack's breath caught. "That sounds bad." "It is," she replied. "It's where the Dominion breaks creatures they fear. They will not kill you with lasers, Jack. They will kill you with spectacle." Before he could answer, the ship docked. Gas poured into the cabin knockout mist. Virea reached for her sword, but dropped to her knees. Jack felt his vision blur again, voices spinning in his head. The last thing he saw was armored guards entering, and Kale, standing behind them, smiling. Jack woke. Up in a cage, metal bars, hot lights, the smell of blood and smoke. He was shirtless, bruised, and chained by glowing cuffs. Above him, thousands of alien spectators screamed and cheered. The arena was alive, and it wanted a show. Across the sand, another cage opened. Out came a monster, 12 feet tall, all bone and muscle. Its eyes burned like molten iron. Its claws scraped the ground, leaving sparks. A voice echoed through the arena. "Behold, the last prime human. Let the test begin." The chains on Jack's arms released with a snap. He stood up slowly, heart pounding. The monster roared and charged. Jack rolled aside, barely dodging the strike. His body moved faster than his mind. It was like instinct had taken over. His feet were light, his hands glowing. The crowd roared louder. Kale sat in the royal box, watching calmly. Beside him, Virea, chained to a pillar. Forced to watch, Jack fought hard, dodging, striking, surviving. But something was wrong. His energy was fading fast. Each move cost more strength. His golden glow was dimming. Kale stood up and raised his hand. The monster stopped mid-charge. "Pause the fight," he commanded. The crowd booed, but obeyed. Kale's voice echoed again. "You fight well, human, but you are still raw, still unstable. Let me help you unlock your full power." Jack spat on the ground. "No." "Thanks," he said. "I've seen your version of help." Kale smiled. "Then let's raise the stakes." He snapped his fingers. Another cage opened. This time, it wasn't a monster. It was a child, a small alien boy. Shaking with fear, thrown into the arena like bait. The crowd fell silent, confused, waiting. Kale's voice turned cold. "Now, Jack," he said, "you must choose. Unleash your full power and kill the beast, or watch the child die." Jack's eyes locked on the boy, then on Virea. Her eyes were wide with rage. She screamed through the chains. Don't do it, Jack. That's what he wants. But Jack didn't listen. He couldn't. He stepped forward, his body shaking, his skin burning. The golden light surged again. Brighter, louder, wilder. Symbols lit up on the arena walls. Ancient forbiddens. The crowd gasped. Cale's smile faded. No, that's not supposed to happen yet, he whispered. Jack roared, not like a man, but like a force that had slept for 1,000 years. The arena shook. The sand turned to glass. The monster charged again. Jack caught it mid-air and slammed it into the ground. Boom. He didn't kill it. He disabled it. Fast, clean, and merciful. He ran to the child, picked him up, and carried him to safety. Silence filled the arena. Then, one by one, the crowd began to cheer, not for violence, but for something greater. Cale stood frozen. His trap had failed. His lie had cracked. Jack turned to him. I'm not your weapon, he said. I'm the beginning of your end. Cale said nothing. But behind his eyes, there was fear, real fear. Jack had passed the arena, not just with power, but with choice, and the galaxy had just seen it. Asterisk the escape. The arena was silent now. Not because the fight had ended, but because something impossible had happened. A human, weak, forgotten, primitive, had refused to kill. He had chosen mercy in a place built for blood, and the galaxy had witnessed it. Jack stood in the center of the arena, holding the child. The monster he had spared lay unconscious beside them. The energy around Jack still glowed, but it had changed. It was calmer, deeper, controlled above, in the royal box. Cale's hands tightened around the railing. He had planned a show of destruction. He had gotten a symbol of hope. This changes everything, whispered one of the Dominion warlords. Cale didn't respond. His jaw clenched. End the broadcast, Cale barked, but it was too late. The feed had already spread across the galaxy. People had seen the Prime awaken, and many were asking the same question. What if the humans rise again? Later, in the cold darkness of a Dominion prison cell, Jack sat alone. His energy was gone, drained by the arena, but his mind burned with fire. He remembered what Cale had said, that Jack was the beginning of the end. The door slid open. 2 guards stepped in, silent and armed, but behind them came someone Jack didn't expect. It was Virea. Her armor was gone, replaced with chains, but her eyes were still fierce. They were thrown into the same cell. The door slammed shut behind them. You did well, she said, sitting beside him. You showed them power and restraint. Jack looked at her. I don't feel powerful right now, he said. I feel like a prisoner. She smiled slightly. Good, she said, because that's when real warriors escape. He raised an eyebrow. You have a plan? Her eyes flashed. I always have a plan. She lifted her hand slightly. A tiny piece of tech was hidden under her skin. Tracking chip override, she whispered. They think I'm helpless. Just then, the walls shook. Sirens began to scream. Smoke filled the hallway outside. The lights turned red. What did you do? Jack asked, standing up. I called in a favor, Virea said. A very old one. The ceiling above exploded. A small black ship hovered just outside the breach. Its hatch opened, and a figure in red armor dropped in, firing smoke grenades. Virea! The armored figure shouted, I told you not to get caught again. Jack blinked. Friend of yours? My cousin, Virea replied. Best thief in 6 systems. Let's go. The thief shouted. Jack and Virea climbed through the hole into the ship. It blasted off instantly, dodging Dominion fire as it escaped into the stars. Inside the cockpit, alarms blared. They were being chased. A fleet of warships followed them through the asteroid belt. We can't outrun them, Jack said. We're not going to, Virea replied. She pointed to a strange beacon on the control panel. This is not just an escape ship, she said. This is a message. She slammed her hand onto the beacon. A golden signal burst from the ship, ancient, bright, and loud, across the stars. In hidden places and sleeping ruins, the signal was heard. Doors opened that had been closed for centuries. Machines that hadn't moved in 1,000 years came to life, and far away, deep in an old human ruin buried beneath alien cities. Something woke up, a voice, low and echoing. Prime signal confirmed. Activation protocol. Earthfire. Back on the escape ship, Jack felt it, like a whisper inside his blood. What was that? He asked. Virea looked at him, serious and quiet. That, she said, was your legacy calling back. Behind them, the Dominion fleet was closing in, but in front of them, a hidden path opened. A wormhole, left behind by the ancient humans. Invisible to the rest of the galaxy, the ship entered it, vanishing in a flash. The Dominion ship stopped, unable to follow. Kale screamed in rage from his command center. He's waking the old network, Kale growled. If we don't stop him now, we lose everything. But it was already too late, because the Prime line was no longer a secret. Jack was no longer just a survivor. He was a signal, a spark, a storm. The reckoning the stars around the wormhole twisted like liquid glass. Jack sat quietly inside the ship, staring out at the spinning light. He was no longer the same man who once walked alone on Earth. Now, his blood carried the codes of an ancient species. Now, his name was whispered in secret rooms across the galaxy. Some called him a threat. Others called him hope. Virea stood beside him, armor repaired, blade sharpened. Where does the wormhole lead? Jack asked. To the vault, she said. The last human fortress. Lost, buried, forgotten. Until now. The ship broke through the end of the wormhole and entered a quiet system. 3 dead suns, 1 shattered moon, and 1 massive space station, built from black stone and silver metal, shaped like a broken crown. The vault. Jack felt something pull him, not physically, but through memory, through blood. He knew this place, even though he had never seen it. It remembers you, Virea whispered, because you were born from it. The ship landed. Doors opened. Silence greeted them, but not darkness. Soft blue light lit the ancient halls. Statues of old human warriors lined the corridor, one by one. Systems activated. Defense towers scanned Jack, then lowered. Gates opened. Machines hummed. The vault had awakened, and it had chosen its master. Jack stepped onto the command platform. His hands touched the control stone. A voice rose from the walls, deep and clear. Prime confirmed. Initiating Earthfire protocol. Virea stepped back, stunned. That's not just a signal, she said. That's a call to war. Jack looked at her. No, he said. It's a call to finish the war that never ended. Far away, Kale watched the vault come online from his command ship. The signal reached every Dominion capital, every outpost, every rebel world. Human power had returned. He clenched his fists. If the vault opens fully, Kale growled, the galaxy will remember who they were. We attack now, he ordered. Crush them before the storm spreads. A massive fleet of Dominion ships launched. Thousands of war cruisers, black and red, armed with forbidden weapons, they headed for the vault like hounds chasing fire. Back at the vault, ancient technology unfolded. Dozens of old defense ships rose from underground bays. Their designs were unlike anything seen in the galaxy for centuries. Sharp, elegant, deadly, but not enough. They outnumber us 50 to 1, Virea said. Jack stood in the center of the vault, eyes glowing. We don't need numbers, he replied. We need truth. He activated the final command. A golden signal burst from the vault. But this time, it wasn't just machines that answered. Across the galaxy, old human sleeper colonies woke up. Hybrid warriors, half machine, half human, hidden for generations, they answered the call. Rebel fleets once hunted by the Dominion turned their ships around. Alien allies from forgotten treaties revealed themselves. The galaxy shifted, not for peace, but for reckoning. The battle began at the edge of the shattered moon. Jack led the charge in an ancient prime warship. Vyrrea flew beside him in her blade-wing fighter. The sky burned. Ships exploded. Energy screamed through space. Kale appeared at the center of the Dominion fleet, his ship, a black leviathan of pain and shadow. He spoke to Jack through the comms. "You should have stayed forgotten," Jack replied. "You should have let Earth sleep." They clashed, ship to ship, blade to blade, word to word. Jack and Kale fought inside a ruined space station. Steel cracked under their feet. Stars glowed through the broken walls. Kale struck hard. Jack bled, but he didn't fall, because behind him stood the memory of billions, and the voice of every human who refused to kneel. With one final surge, Jack unleashed the Earthfire. Not a weapon, but a memory. Kale was hit by visions. Ancient human cities, children laughing, oceans, stars, love, pain. He dropped his blade. Stunned, Jack stood tall. "You tried to erase us," he said, "but you forgot one thing. We are not a race. We are a story, and stories do not die." Jack turned, left Kale in silence. The battle was over, but the war had become something else. The galaxy watched as the vault rose above the stars. Jack stood at its helm, Vyrrea at his side. He looked out, not as a king, but as a human. "You once asked me to bow," he said. "Now I ask you to rise." And across the stars they did.